Since Lucia is set to benefit from fair and equitable sharing of the use of its genetic resources, the Sustainable Development Department will be soon ratifying the Nagoya Protocol, Convention on Biological Diversity, on March 14, 2022, since Lucia submitted instruments for accession to the protocol, and it will come into force in June 2022. The Nagoya Protocol, Convention on Biological Diversity, is a multilateral treaty with 193 parties which aims to conserve biological diversity and ensure sustainable use of such components. The protocol establishes a framework that helps researchers access genetic resources for biotechnology research, development, and other activities.
By ratifying, St. Lucia has agreed to have fair and equitable sharing of our genetic resources with outside entities as well as persons within St. Lucia. And it's important because it would help us. It's an opportunity for St. Lucia to use its genetic resources, and it covers all of the resources under the CDB, which are our ecosystems, our species, our genetic material, as well as biotechnology, which falls under the Cartagena Protocol. And this will help. It can help in developing our economy by use of the resource by outside parties for patents and for commercialization of products.
The world and its people are under threat due to rising temperatures, sea levels, and intense hurricanes and floods brought about by changes in the climate. A report by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center has warned that the region will be heating up and may become unlivable.
We would have heard about the Paris Agreement that speaks to limiting the temperature increase to well below 2 degrees Celsius and having efforts and taking steps to keep that temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Well, the reality is we are already at 1.1. So you could imagine the consequences, and we're seeing it. We're seeing as we look around, persons are suffering in St. Lucia as well, and as well as the region. Persons are suffering from heat stroke. You see in some places the animals are also collapsing. You look at your beautiful garden, you look at your plants, and they're all wilted. Productivity-wise, agriculture sector impacted as well. So the heat is something that the report speaks about, and we're seeing.
Since Lucia also completed its first conference of parties for the Escazú Agreement, which was held in Chile from April 20th to the 22nd. The Escazú Agreement is one of the first legally binding environmental agreements to explicitly integrate human rights with environmental matters.
The language of the Escazú Agreement speaks to meaningful participation of the public. And there were some countries, for those of you who were following, who wanted to limit the participation of the public in the whole process. But member states agreed, and St. Lucia supported the move not to remove, to limit the participation of the public, because the essence of the Escazú Agreement is all about people. The second component of the Escazú Agreement is public participation at all levels of decision making when it comes to projects that might affect the human health or projects that might affect the environment, both the flora and the fauna.
The Escazú Agreement presents solutions to enhance the protection of environmental defenders, increase public participation in environmental decision-making, and foster cooperation among countries for biodiversity conservation. Gina Filippi, HDS News Force.